What is up, everybody? Here with another top five for all that film. We're going to be going through top five things to binge while everyone's sort of on quarantine. And I have four platforms I'm going to go through with Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu and HBO. So let's get right into it. I'll give y'all five things for each. They could be movies and TV. I probably lean more heavily to movies just because that's what I watch more frequently. But we'll get right into it with the first one that I'm going to bring up. This is a little film that's still in the tourney that I think a ton of people should check out. They actually changed the little header on it now. But it's this film called Starred Up by David Mackenzie. It's this film Blake actually recommended me. It's only an hour and 40 minutes. It's an incredible film. It's got Jack O'Connell, and you can read the description right there. A British juvenile offender's violent temper gets him transferred to an adult prison where he encounters his estranged father. It's got Ben Mendo. It's a really talented cast, phenomenal work, really, really interesting piece, and it's creating a lot of upsets in our tourney. So I definitely recommend this. Definitely check it out. It's one of the first things I'd recommend people check out. And then the next one we're going to go with is going to be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Don't just to be clear, don't watch Full Metal Alchemist. I know it's a little confusing. This show is great. If you don't like anime, I completely understand. I think this works even if you don't like anime, if you're sort of into sci-fi-ish concepts or fantasy more-ish. It's incredible. It's a really great show. It's only 5 seasons. I think if you're not hooked, like episode 3 or episode 5, you'll sort of know. But by that point, I think you'll know you have an affinity for the show or not. It's one of the shows I sort of recommend to people if they haven't watched animated before. Another of those would be One Punch Man, which is also on Netflix. Really great as well. But yeah, if you need something to binge, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is great. And then the next one that I will be going with is another. Actually, I just realized I have another David Mackenzie project on here. And that's going to be Hell or High Water, the film with Chris Pine and Ben Foster as brothers committing heists across Texas. What more do you need? This movie's awesome. I adore it so much. I think everybody should check it out. It's got one of the best writers on it with, I think it's Ty Sheridan, but I'd have to check that. But yeah, no, it's an incredible film, definitely worthy of your attention, so check that one out too. Really great heist film. And then the next one is just a sci-fi that I think a lot of people will enjoy, is Train to Busan. So I think if you're looking for a sci-fi film, Snowpiercer is also available, but Train to Busan is incredible. I know the zombie genre's sort of got an overhaul over the past couple years, but this is great. Definitely worthy of your attention to check out. And, you know, you can watch it dubbed even if you don't like reading. So I think that has a little bit going for it because I know a couple people, subtitles are weird to them. So it even has that. It's just really sort of campy and fun and doesn't really concern itself with any of the silence or any of the science behind it. It's just a fun sort of action sci-fi movie. And then the last one I'm going to go with, I think tends to get overlooked a couple times, unfortunately. And the reason I say that is because I've looked it up a couple times and it's always lower than I think. And that's going to be Hook. And the reason I go with Hook is I feel like during these times we'll need something a little bit more uplifting. And there's no better actor to go for that than Robin Williams. There's so many great moments in this movie. I feel like going back to it, it holds up even better. I think I watched part of this as a kid, but I rewatched it for the first time, sort of, or maybe even watched it for the first time, I'm not sure. And I adore Hook. I think it's sort of gotten lost to time, unfortunately. So obviously a popular movie, Steven Spielberg, Robin Williams. But, you know, if you haven't checked this out, if you haven't revisited it, it's phenomenal. I think it's worthy of your attention. The first one I'm going with is actually a new movie that I think everyone should definitely check out. It's this little ditty called "The Farewell." It's incredible. It's definitely worthy of everyone's attention. I don't know why this wasn't pushed as much as something like Lady Bird. It's a perfect balance of comedy and drama, just blending that family drama with comedy so well. In a way that's so fulfilling and so relatable. I think this film could have been like Lady Bird in terms of its indie popularity, and unfortunately, A24 was pushing other movies, so it wasn't. Maybe this just didn't catch on, unfortunately. But Lulu Wang is a phenomenal director here, and Aquafina. The whole cast is incredible. Aquafina is great. Shujin Zhao is awesome. Nai Nai is incredible. Definitely check it out. It's well worth your time. Everyone should have watched this last year, but here I am telling you now. So definitely check out The Farewell. It has my full recommendation. And we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be Clue, the 1985 film. And I didn't watch this for a while. I don't know why. I know this sort of quote-unquote twist-ish, if you will. And I think I didn't realize it was more of a farcical comedy. So if you don't know that, yeah, this is what Clue the movie is. I don't read a lot of stuff before watching a film. I usually like to go in blind completely. But yeah, six guests. It's exactly like Clue. Definitely worth your time. It's got Tim Curry in it. What more do you need? Why aren't you watching Clue? Well, you should watch The Farewell first. But why aren't you watching Clue? Then after that, I'm going to go with another movie, this one animated, and that's Ernest and Celestine. And the reason I go with this one is it's such an enjoyable film. It's goofy, it's weird, it's got a message to say. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature, don't you ever forget it. And it's just a really, really fun film. The dub for it's incredible. The sub for it is also great. Both are worth watching. It's really short too. And just going back to what I was saying with Hook, if you need an escape, this is perfect for that. You just turn it on. And I think this is a film that is comparable to Zootopia. It's not as overt as Zootopia, but I think it does have some messages to say to kids. Definitely worth checking out. So we'll move on to the fourth one. And the fourth one I bounced around. I wanted to get a pure comedy to go with. And I think I'm going to stick with Up in the Air. I almost went with Orange County. That movie's super, super underrated. Jack Black's incredible. But Up in the Air is one of George Clooney's best performances, if not the best. It's so, so, so great. It's so funny. It's so witty. It's from Jason Reitman. And Jason Reitman has been a little hit or miss as of late, unfortunately. But George Clooney and Vera Farmiga are delightful. Anna Kendrick is incredible as a supporting actress. And just the whole premise of this guy who his whole life is going on these plane trips and then firing people, and that's about to be put away to do it online. I think it's something that still ages quite well. I think it's worth checking out with so many people working from home right now. I think it's a story that's worth checking out. So that's going to be number 4. And then the very last one, so I didn't go with any TV shows, mostly because I don't watch TV on Amazon Prime, and I think I just misspelt that. I'm hoping it still shows up. But the last one's Warrior. So if you're a big Rocky fan, if you're a big fighter fan, Warrior is a really, really enjoyable watch. It's got Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. They're both incredible. It's a really, really inspiring story. It's one that you just pump your fist in the air like, yeah, while you're watching it. Definitely worth your time. Even if you don't really like MMA, I think if you do, you'll get a lot out of it. But even if you don't like MMA, I think it's worth checking out. Maybe if you like MMA, you think it's unrealistic. You'd have to see the film, I guess, but I could see that being a complaint. But that's going to be my 5 for Amazon Prime. The first one I'm going to go with is Devs. You probably saw it down there a second ago. It's this new sci-fi show. I am literally only 2 episodes in. But it's that good. It's from the king of sci-fi now, Alex Garland. It's incredible. It's got Nick Offerman in it. Just literally watch the first episode and just sit back and be hooked. I think it's incredible sci-fi. I'm hoping, I trust Alex Garland, but I'm hoping it is a high concept as it keeps going on sci-fi. And I think the more and more I watch it, it is definitely going to be that because I have full faith in Alex Garland. But this is an incredible show. I won't talk too much on it because I'll probably have a pilot's test and another video sort of recapping season 1 when that comes to a close. But definitely check out Devs. The next show that I'm going to go with is this little ditty called Gravity Falls, which is basically kid version Twin Peaks. Mabel and Dipper, just these two brother and sister getting along as weird hijinks start happening in this little small town city with their grunkle Stan. It's kind of quirky a little bit, but really, really incredibly fun. There's some great episodes. I think honestly, if you get into Dipper versus Manliness, I think it's great even before that. But that's one of the episodes I remember being like, oh, this show is high quality, and I just really love this show. I still haven't watched the finale, and I think it's because I don't like finishing shows just because I'm left with like a void. And Gravity Falls is such a great show that I want to revisit it again before finishing it. But we'll move on to the third one. The third one's actually going to be a movie. This movie is kind of popular, so sorry if you've already heard of this one and it's not really a recommendation for you. But Booksmart is great. It's an incredible comedy. It unfortunately started this weird thing of, oh, it's like Superbad. Why did we make a female Superbad? And it's like, well, this isn't Superbad. And even if it were, I think it's still cool that we get that every era. I think you could say Superbad is kind of, in a way, Dazed and Confused, if you want to get that technical. So just to sort of go, oh, there's two leads. Oh, well, it's Superbad. Sort of feels weird. But this comedy's great. Definitely worth checking out. It's hilarious. There's some incredible scenes. Both these actresses are so ready for the spotlight. They're both great here. Definitely check it out. A little comedy about the last hijinks of school once they find out that everybody's been getting good grades, even though they're not nerds. So yeah, definitely check that out. And then I have another movie. This one's a little less popular, so hopefully you haven't seen it. And that is going to be a pick that I think Jude recommended me. It's called The Guilty. It's more of a thriller. It's more of a crime thriller. And basically it's just in one room. And there's a crime that's going on with a cop that's called, and he basically can only figure it out in this one room where he's a 911 dispatcher, and he has to solve all of that just on the phone. And I think it's incredibly inventive. It's incredibly creative. It's well worth your time. It's, again, gets you on the edge of your seat. As you can see, it's only 88 minutes, sorry. But yeah, definitely check this film out. And the last one I'm going to go with is actually a mini-series. And this one is also still in the tourney. And that's going to be Over the Garden Wall. If for whatever reason Over the Garden Wall has escaped you at this point, I know I'm recommending a ton of animated stuff. But Over the Garden Wall is phenomenal. I know you're thinking mini-series. Oh, well, how long is it? It's literally movie length. I think it's only like 10 episodes, and they're all like 12 minutes. It's a little dark. It's a little funny. It's quirky. It's definitely worth checking out. It's a phenomenal piece of work. Really, really inspired work here. Potatoes and molasses. What more can I say? So that's going to be my top 5 for Hulu. So starting with HBO, it's really easy for me. Check out Westworld. It gets a huge recommendation in my eyes. It's an incredible TV show. If you, for whatever reason, missed the hype of this TV series, it's incredible. I've only seen season 1, but season 1 is so worth your time. It's a phenomenal high-concept sci-fi series. Sort of same thing I harped on with Devs, sorry. But It's a great show. If for whatever reason you didn't jump on the hype train when this was happening, definitely check it out now. Just watch like one episode a night. It's phenomenal. It's really, really brilliant storytelling. And then the rest of these are going to be movies. I know HBO is more known for shows. With the first pick of the movies, which is going to be Blind Spotting. And Blind Spotting is a fairly newer film. It came out in 2018. Stars David Diggs and Raphael Cassel. And I will not stop talking about this film because it's incredible. I think a ton of other people have seen this. It's sort of mid-tier, like, oh, it caught on, once it hit streaming. It's on HBO now. It's a comedy drama. Just watch Blind Spotting. If any of these get to you, Blind Spotting is comedy, drama, thriller. It literally, if I had to compare this to anything, it is not the same film on the same level this film I'm going to compare it to it is, but I think they're similar. I'd actually really compare this to Parasite in that I didn't really even know what was going to happen each next scene of Blind Spotting. It's kind of genreless in a fun way. It has a lot to say about different things we as humans deal with, and definitely a ton to say about racial tensions. And I think at the end of the day, we're looking at Diggs and Cassel, and they are the new Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. We'll have to wait for years and maybe even decades to see that. But this writing duo is incredible. And Carlos Lopez Estrada makes this world of Oakland feel so realized. It's, again, incredible. Definitely worth you checking out. And we'll move on to the third thing that I'm mentioning, second movie, which is going to be Half Nelson, the Ryan Gosling film. And I think this is actually Ryan Gosling's best performance. He was nominated for an Oscar for this. And it's about a junior high school teacher who maybe he's doing some shady stuff on the side, but he has this unlikely friendship with a student. Not in that way, but this is really worth checking out. It's got Anthony Mackie. It's directed by Ryan Fleck, and it's also written by Anna Boden. I think those two ended up doing Captain Marvel later. I'd have to fact check that, but I'm almost positive. And this came out in 2006. Awesome movie. Sort of got lost in the shuffle of things because people should mention this as one of Ryan Gosling's best performances. I love this film. Definitely check it out. It's really short. It's only 107 minutes. Go for it. And then I'll go with my second to last movie. This is actually going to be another film that I was recommended by Daiso Joe, a good buddy of mine. Recommended this for MySpace Season 2, which I won't explain that, but it's called Living in Oblivion, and it's this quirky indie comedy about the toils of low-budget filmmaking. It stars Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener. It's just so funny. It's so eccentric in the way it uses comedy. It's so over the top. Well worth your time. Definitely check this one out. And then, by the way, that's a 90s film. Only 90s kids remember, right? No, but I'll go with this last one real quick. And that's going to be Glengarry Glen Ross. They should really update this thumbnail. But Glengarry Glen Ross is this drama from the 90s as well. And it's all-star cast list. It was a play at first. This is so worth your time. It's, again, only like an hour and 40 minutes, and it's basically just about the salesman and sort of how they learn the ins and outs of real estate sales. Check this film out. That's going to do it for this top 5. Hope you guys found something you wanted to check out. And thank you guys for finding this video. Let me know if you have any recommendations. Thanks. Bye.